Mr. Toscano, under the FAA Modernization Reform Act of 2012, the FAA is required to establish unmanned aircraft system test ranges within the United States. I understand the FAA has requested proposals to create these test sites, and I also understand that Utah Valley University, which is the largest public university in my home state, is headlining an alliance that is one of the candidates for these sites. Are you familiar with this aspect of the 2012 Act, and how do you see these sites and the testing that will be conducted there as contributing to the necessary regulations that we might need in the United States, including regulations related to privacy?
That's an excellent question. This goes back to the responsibility of the FAA is to assure that anything that flies in the national airspace is safe. The only way that you can assure that safety is to test them. So these test sites that are being stated, there's one that already exists, it's in New Mexico State, and the 6 new ones that will be coming forward will have the capability to test to make sure that any unmanned air system will have the ability to operate safely into the national airspace. That is the design of those test sites, in which case they will certify the platform, the operator, in many cases the operational environment.
You sound fairly confident that that will lead to some improvements, lead to any standards that need to be created, making sure that they're...
Most definitely. If you look right now, they had 50 different entries that have been petitioned from 37 different states that are involved. The 6 that are identified right now in the FAA reauthorization bill that you quoted, those are being funded by the states themselves with certification from the FAA. In the future, you may see that every state could have their own test site in order to be able to assure that the technology that's being deployed in the national airspace is in fact safe.
Okay. And then, Ms. Stefanovic, some proponents of drone technology have argued that current safeguards provides a significant protection of privacy. And they note that we have on the books related to the use of technology, laws that we already have on the books related to use of other technologies that can overlap and include this type of technology. Certain remedies that provide civil remedies for violations of those laws. Some have suggested that these legal protections should apply equally to drones, and that they may be sufficient to alleviate any constitutional problems or any privacy concerns. In your view, is this approach correct? And what are the main differences between manned and unmanned aircraft as it relates to the protection of Americans for their privacy concerns and their rights under the Fourth Amendment?
Thank you for the question. We don't believe that there are actually any federal statutes that would provide limits on drone surveillance in the United States. The privacy laws that do exist are very targeted. It's the approach that the United States has taken to privacy, and they don't encompass the type of surveillance that drones are able to conduct. And because of this is why we're actually advocating for additional legislation on drone surveillance. The primary difference between manned and unmanned vehicles is going to be, and I think this has been brought up, that drones are going to be able to conduct much more surveillance. They are cheaper to fly, cheaper to buy, cheaper to maintain, and therefore able to conduct an incredible amount more surveillance and subject individuals to the surveillance. They're also designed, built and designed, to carry some of the most invasive surveillance technology that's on the market today, and this further puts individuals at risk.
I assume that part of your analysis in that has to do with the stealth factor by virtue of their size and the way many of them are operated. They don't make as much noise, they're harder to see, they're harder to hear, and they can move in and out, like a thief in the night. You won't necessarily know that they're there. I assume that's one of the factors that significantly factors into your assessment on that front. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
And then in your testimony, you've mentioned several concerns that you have about drones. Even with current advancements, present-day technology and the cost of that technology places some real significant practical limitations on the use of drones. As Justice Alito discussed in a recent opinion, some of the most effective privacy protections are neither constitutional nor statutory, but practical. But as technology advances, those practical limitations cease to act as an effective constraint on the privacy concerns that we're discussing here. As you noted, the technology related to drones has developed much in the last decade, and it's going to continue to advance and make those same concerns even more significant. One of my concerns relates to the coming years and the likelihood that those limitations will recede along with the technological advances. In other words, as the technological advances make drones more effective and more cost-effective, these concerns can become more significant. So in your view, how should the potential for development of drone technology and the future uses of those systems affect our analysis here when we're examining the privacy implications of drone technology?
I think the best thing to do, because of the incredible advancement of drone technology and where it's going to be, recently technologist Bruce Schneier said that today's rare and expensive is tomorrow's commonplace, is that we need legislation on this issue that's going to be technology neutral, and that means it's not going to become quickly outdated as technology increases. And this has been done in several laws in the past. If we look at the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, which is in the process of being updated now, many years later, it was able to hold up through tremendous advances in technology, and only recently is going to have to need to be updated because of not being able to foresee the future of the internet at that time. And I think it's important for all technology and privacy legislation to try to be as technology neutral as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.